It's recording. So, Muse.
Yeah. I'd say the message behind Muse's music, especially the last two albums, is sort your shit out. Their lyrics have been open to interpretation, very metaphorical. Not direct, not saying a direct message, but basically for those who have the eyes to see or the ears to hear. But with the latest album, Black Holes and Revelations, even in the album cover themselves, they've got a picture of a thing called chemtrails, or something what very much resembles a chemtrail. What a chemtrail is believed to be is a weather modification program, or even worse, a depopulation program being carried out by the governments of the world. They've also got a photograph in there of some declassified MK Ultra documents, and what MK Ultra is, or was, I believe it still is to this day, is a mind control program which was set up in the 50s, I think, first of all. Yeah, it was a mind control program where the government were testing with technological forms as well as hypnotist forms, as well as drug-induced forms of mind control. Many people believe that MK Ultra never got closed down, it just got modified, and basically it is MK Ultra which is basically behind a lot of advertising as well as cinema, stroke film, stroke media today, being formed and used to create a sort of think set amongst the masses. It's a huge subject, people just have to look into MK Ultra basically. The album cover to Black Holes and Revelations by Muse, it's got a picture of HAARP. HAARP was originally designed to basically send ionised energy up into the atmosphere, and it come back down to Earth. Keeping it simple, it like send vibrational energy up into the atmosphere. That's probably a wrong term to use, but then it comes back down to the planet, and this energy would vibrate the planet, the different layers of rock and stone, and they could use then the sound and the frequency coming back from the ground to find out whether there are gold deposits in a certain area or oil deposits in a certain area. Now, it's been modified into a degree which could be extremely dangerous, where they can use HAARP basically to spy on and search for enemy underground tunnels and bases. It can also be used to enhance communications between between submarines across the planet. It can also be used to knock down missiles, enemy ballistic missiles. It can also be used apparently to modify weather. Theories have been put forward by I think even the gentleman who designed it, that it can be used to modify weather, create storms here, there and everywhere. Again, I'd say look into this subject. But the most worrying aspect of HAARP, for me, is the ELFs, which stands for extremely low frequency. They can generate frequencies, which they can then fire around the globe at will. And basically, HAARP can emit, and they plan to emit soon, the same frequencies in which the human brain responds at. They're using these weapons now. It's being believed through protests throughout the world, but definitely more so in Iraq. And they're starting to publicise them now as non-lethal weapons, where a Jeep will pull up with what looks like a strange satellite dish on the back of the Jeep, and it will fire an extremely low frequency pulse at you. You won't hear it, you won't see it, but what you will feel is, depending on the frequency of the pulse and effect, they can make you feel nauseous, which is good in an angry crowd because you can diffuse the crowd. They can make you feel like you're on fire. It will tell your brain that you're on fire, or emit the frequency to convince your brain that you're on fire. Or they can make you feel or think anything by the control of these frequencies. And this thing, HAARP, can do that on a mass scale. And people believe it's going to be an extension of mass mind control, and a progression on from the MK Ultra program, where they will be able to control masses, cities, towns, not just groups of people, which they are controlling at the moment through using such devices, apparently even at New Orleans and certain protests. Go on Google whilst you still have the use to search this information up, and go and look up HAARP. Go and find the documentaries you can download off of Google Video. Go on their main websites, go on the Alternative Theories websites, go on people who are trying to disclose this information's websites, and look at this stuff. Otherwise, become a victim of it, but that's your choice.
So that's HAARP there.
Yeah, that's the HAARP antenna. I think that's the one in Alaska. There's loads of stuff in here. We've got the MK Ultra documents, which I spoke of before. These are just photographs of declassified documents. The American administration has a declassification program where after 25 or 50 years of a project which is top secret or secret, that they get disclosed, and they were declassified documents of a program called MK Ultra. Again, I'll go and check that out. Another thing you want to check out is chemtrails. Go on the Google video, type in chemtrails. And the worrying thing that these things have all got in common is something called FEMA, F-E-M-A. Stands for the Federal Emergency Management Association in America, an organisation set up to basically help cities out after emergencies such as earthquakes, tornadoes, the like. FEMA really nothing more is a front for the new secret army, secret government to take over America. Once America declares a state of emergency, the Federal Emergency Management Association can declare control and take over, but these are going to be an army, basically, a new government away from congressional hearings. You know, George Bush is currently bringing in loads of executive orders where it abolishes the Constitution. The Constitution in America is already being destroyed, but I mean, once they declare state of emergency, human rights are just going to disappear out the window. As we stand now, there are camps being built all around America. I'm sure not just America, but there are camps being built to detain thousands upon hundreds of thousands of individuals. They're turning old train repair yards to old military bases into what can only be described as work camps and as concentration camps. The ones which look like blatant extermination camps, they're probably going to use off to try and say that if there was a big outbreak of bird flu in a city to contain the spread of further viruses and the bodies rotting in the streets, would have to dispose of them quickly. So they're probably going to try and say that these camps are just prototypes of possible processing, of bodies camps. They'll say whatever they can say. They'll say it's for the war on drugs, for the war on terror, for the war on this, for the war on that, just to keep people looking the other way. People have got to really wake up. Seriously, don't just look at me and listen to me and believe me. Don't look at me, listen to me and think I'm full of rubbish. Just get out and look at this information. There are videos and DVDs out there which you can burn off and pass to your friends and family members. It's of the utmost importance. People have got to understand that World War II, we had hundreds upon thousands, millions of men dying in World War II to say give us freedoms. We went in England and America to fight the Nazi fascist state. Millions died, but most human beings in Western society today are so thick, right, and that's the word to use, thick, right, and brainwashed, but they seem to think that World War II, all of a sudden, like we just say, like, and boom, World War II, and everyone's got to go and fight. It took about 10 years for Hitler to turn Germany into the fascist military machine it was, before England even declared war against them. Germany were marching across Europe, killing and maiming people left, right and centre, years before there was a World War II. So what people have got to understand is that if this guy is telling the truth, we'd see it all now. No, because the German people didn't see it until it was too late. Apart from those ones who really support it. And we've got a complete repeat of World War II mentality. The Reichstag burnt down, which was Hitler's parliamentary building. It burnt down. He blamed it on his enemies. He then created these homeland security wars where he spread into neighbouring countries, destroying, these people, saying that they were terrorists who'd attacked the homeland. And then all of a sudden we had this huge global conflict. There's going to be another world war soon, unless people start taking this information on and lobbying their governments and basically start being human beings. People aren't being human beings at the moment, they're just being homos, sit on the couch and do nothing-cus. Just sat there expecting things to happen for them, moaning when they don't. And we've got to sort that out, we've got to change that attitude now. And it's as simple as that.
What are the characteristics of a human being? When you say start being human beings.
Alright, when we start being human beings, well, human beings would never have been human beings if they didn't start taking risks. If human beings never left the caves in search of food, they'd have starved. But they had to take those risks. They were going forward and taking risks and progressively moving somewhere, just to survive. Where we seem to be domesticated today, we seem to think that we don't have to survive, so we just sit there and think we call it living. You think it's funny how they call a living room a living room. Living normally means when you go out and do something. Do in a living room, they sit there and watch a little box in the corner like a zombie. Is that living?
That's living, isn't it?
That's not living. That's like people pay for that sort of stuff. They go into a room and pay for a man to stand on stage and hypnotise them. That's what that is. That's just TV. It's got its uses. I'm not a complete enemy of TV if it's used correctly. It'd be great. It'd be a great form of educating people. But unfortunately, the only things that seem to genuinely educate people these days are controlled by these mass media moguls who don't want you knowing certain things, only want you knowing certain things. It makes them lots of money and keeps you in your place. People need to turn the TV off and use the internet whilst we got it, because that's going to go away soon as well, and that's another subject altogether.